of the Public Health, Safety, and Transportation Committee. It is February 13, 2024, and it is 4 o'clock. Will the clerk please call the roll?
Chairperson Mike Seville.
Here.
Vice Chair Bill Donnell.
Here.
Alderman John Lash.
Present.
Alderman Ted Masiacos.
Present.
Alderwoman Wani Garza.
Present.
5 present.
Okay, thank you. First off on the agenda, we have the approval of minutes 24-0055. This is a PHS&T
Second.
committee meeting held on January 23rd, 2024. It's been motioned by Alderwoman Garza, second by Alderman Masiacos. Any corrections, additions, or deletions? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye opposed, motion carried 5-0. Any members of the public wishing to speak?
No, there is not.
Okay, we'll go to the agenda itself then. We have 4 items. 24-0013, a resolution authorizing the execution of a service agreement between the City of Aurora and Family Services Association of Elgin, Illinois, in support of the Aurora Police Department Crisis Intervention Unit for the period of January of 2024 through June of 2025. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
Welcome.
Lieutenant Andy Walcott with the Aurora Police Department. We're asking to renew this agreement with the Family Service Association of Elgin. We've been using them since 2020 in various capacities, and this is will continue our services with them. Our last agreement we entered into was last year for 15 months. That's now coming to an end, and now this will be another 18-month contract with them. We've been very happy with their services and have seen great results from our partnership with them providing social workers for us.
Mhm.
Mr. Chairman.
Any questions, Alderman Donnell?
It appears the program's expanding. Could you talk about that a little bit?
Yes, we've seen the need to expand. So originally we had been working with 2 social workers, and obviously with 24 hours in a day, it's kind of hard to, and people's days off and vacations and everything else, it's hard to get the coverage we need. So this would allow us. Right now we have 2. This would allow us for this year to add a third. That could either be a third full-timer or 2 part-timers. And then for 2024, it would be up to 4 social workers total. That's already been approved through the budget and everything as far as the budget end of it. This is just the actual agreement. But the goal is, especially with the part-timers, it's nice to help us cover some of the weekend and some of the, it's late at night and into the night when we're still having calls. So we're really excited about this aspect of it.
So did I read there's going to be some students as well?
We have the ability to have some student interns. They did several years ago have some from AU's social work program, and this just allows us that ability to utilize those if it's advantageous.
Alderman Lesh?
Yes.
How many people would it take to provide 24/7 coverage?
I don't have that number in front of me. I'd have to reevaluate, and try to figure that out to cover, especially with vacations and that type of thing. What we're seeing, though, is that the need for social workers greatly dies off after 10 p.m. So we're trying to staff most days from 8 a.m. till 10 p.m., which is when we can get those services. The other thing with the social workers and the difficulty as far as overnights is the resources are limited. Sure. During the day, there's a lot of resources that we can help them, and even on afternoons, there's still a lot of resources and crisis methods that we can employ or that the social workers can use to get people what they need. But when it gets in the middle of the night, that gets very difficult. So,
will that be then 8 a.m. to 10 p.m. 7 days a week at least? Or are we not there yet?
I think we'll be pretty close. By the end of this, I think we'll be at that point through this contract, because we'll have enough. Once we get up to the 4 social workers, I think we'll be pretty much daily contact. That's our goal, is daily coverage. Obviously, it varies a little with, like I said, days off and vacations and people that are maybe off for a day or 2 for training and that type of thing.
Thank you.
Okay. Any other questions?
Motion to move.
Second?
Motion been made by Alderwoman Garza, second by Alderman Janelle. Any further questions? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, motion carried.
Thank you.
5-0. Thank you, Andy. The next item on the agenda is 24-0062, and this is a resolution authorizing the execution of a memorandum of understanding between the City of Aurora, the City of Elgin, and King County, the participation in the 2023 Edward Byrne Memorial Justice Assistant Grant, the JAG program.
Good afternoon, committee. Lieutenant Bill Rowley, the Administrative Services Lieutenant for the Aurora Police Department. Good to be in front of you this afternoon. Each year, we participate in the Edward Byrne Memorial Justice Grant. This is a grant that with an assignment of benefit to the City of Aurora, and for our part, we historically share our resources with the City of Elgin and the County of Kane. These are allotted grants, so that dollar amount is provided to us by the federal government. Historically, the City of Elgin and the City of Aurora, we both agree to share 30% of our grant award with Kane County. And this year is no different. So in order to do this, of course, we have to enter into a memorandum of understanding with both the City of Elgin and County of Kane. This memorandum of understanding has been put through the City of Elgin's City Council and the Kane County Board and has been approved by both. So now it's back to us for me to bring up to the council at large for approval for the mayor's signature so that we can put that memorandum of understanding in action. I believe all of you have copies of it, and then we can begin to utilize those funds. Elgin typically uses their funds for cameras in their city. They usually use this money to update their camera system. Kane County uses it for their Lexipol program, similar to what the Aurora Police Department has. That's something that's used for training and education for their police officers. And each year we try to identify a need in our organization. This year we plan to use ours to purchase water rescue kits for our officers, which I intend to talk about at some future time here in front of the council as a whole.
Any questions?
Second.
Been moved by Alderman Lesh, second by Alderman Garza. Any further discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, motion carried, 5-0. Thank you. The next item is 24-0063, a resolution approving the purchase of 31 United Shield brand ballistic shields and accessories from MES-Lawman Supply of Deer Creek, Illinois, in the amount of $64,725. So, take it away.
Good afternoon again. Lieutenant Bill Rowley still here from the Aurora Police Department. I'm the Administrative Services Lieutenant. This is part of a 5-year rotating plan to update our outdated and expired ballistic shields that we use for either our special response team or, in this case, for our patrol supervisors and patrol officers. So we've established a rotation wherein the shields that we have that are expired or beyond their useful life can be appropriately replaced. For this purpose, we're looking to purchase 31 total shields. One of these shields is a rifle-rated shield. That's a level 3 shield you'd see in your attachment, and that's for the patrol sergeants. All of our patrol sergeants carry rifle-rated shields. These are rather expensive, so it's cost prohibitive to have rifle-rated shields in all cars. So we have pistol-rated shields, which these are considered level 3A. It's a limited amount of protection, but it carries significantly more protection than just our body-worn ballistic vests. We're looking to purchase 30 of those, along with the associated lights that we like to place on them, identification markings that note that they're police, so that in the din of any kind of crisis event, there's no confusion about who we are. And then also some shield bags that we typically purchase as part of this package to keep them from getting scuffed up and the viewports being cracked, et cetera, while they're in the back of our police squads. This is also being purchased under cooperative purchasing agreement through the Sourcewell cooperative contract.
Move to approve.
Second.
Second, one question.
Yeah, Alderman Lesh.
We went through this, I think, last summer, right? We bought roughly the same number, and they're good for 5 years.
Yes.
Correct. So how many do we need to maintain all the time here? How many do we have total that we're replacing them as they go out of cycle?
We'll replace them as they go out of cycle. We have enough for all of our squad cars, so that's roughly 150 total shields. And then we also have some that we carry for our special response team. I don't have that number in front of me. I wasn't prepared to bring that number in front, but I can get that before we get to committee of the whole.
So
I can give you a total
Yeah,
value.
pretty much every year, we're going to be buying 30 of them.
Well, every year we're going to be buying something. In fact, we'll be coming back to buy ones for SRT, I think, later on this year once that paperwork is in. But because of their cost, for instance, just one rifle-rated shield is $6,400. So we, rather than try to get the brunt of that expense, we try to spread that out over 5 years just to make a responsible burden. But we do have a lot of shields that we are trying to replace. So
And then I think I asked you offline, what do we do with those once they're done?
we return them to the vendor, and they responsibly dispose of them. Because they're expired, we can't. I think we have an ethical dilemma if we're trying to sell them off or give them away to another agency, knowing that they're expired. The manufacturer will not warranty them, so if they use them and they fail, the manufacturer will not indemnify their use after they've been expired. So we're in a
Something tells me that if they failed within that 5-year period, they would still try and get out of it. Just knowing how corporate America works.
Alderman, I can assure you that's the last thing we'd be worried about if one of our policemen were killed by a.
Right. But what have we put this out to bid or done anything else to try and bring the cost down?
Well-
It just seems very.
And that's why I mentioned that we're purchasing these through a cooperative purchase agreement. That is the lowest responsible bid, as we understand the cooperative purchasing agreement works. That's the purchasing method that we use that's most robust when we're looking for a purchase of this size.
Thank you.
And Bill, what material are they made out of, the reason why they have a 5-year expiration date?
You know, Alderman, the mechanics of how they're made or the materials, that's beyond my, I just don't, I'm just not a materialist. I know they're not just, metal or they're a material that lets them be light enough to be carried for an extended period of time, but still, I'm assuming there must be some sort of a Kevlar material that's embedded into some sort of plastic encasement or something, but I can certainly look into that. I'd be just as curious as you are now.
My own curiosities.
Sure. I think I could probably find an answer before we go to committee on this.
Okay, thanks.
Sure.
And it was moved by Alderman Donnell, second by Alderwoman Garza. Any further questions or discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, motion carried. 5-0. Thanks, Bill.
Thank you, committee.
Appreciate it. And the last one, 24-0085, resolution approving the third-party administrative services for cities in schools, Aurora, to administer the 2024 summer programs in the amount not to exceed $180,000 for the youth services.
It's 183, Alderman?
183?
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, just
Did I
making
misspeak? Sorry about that.
That's okay. Thank you, sir. Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you. Excited. It's that time of year where we get to talk about all the wonderful programming. And yes, the summer is going to be here before we know it. So I just want to share a little bit of information. And obviously, we have a representative from cities and schools here as well to answer any additional questions. This is a collaborative effort between City of Aurora and Cities and Schools since 2010. As many of you know, that was at that time we put this out for competitive bid. And Cities and Schools won that year, and every year we've utilized their services because every year we assess other agencies, but we have not found yet another agency that can meet the demand that they do, have those not only relationships, but those certifications to be in all the school districts in which we are affiliated with. And so on your attachment, you should also see the history memo. We'll go over a little bit of the single source justification. Here's an overview of our sites for this year. And bear with us, as you know, every year, sometimes we're trying to get those last minute changes to construction, which I'll touch on in a little bit later. Our site in West Aurora District 129 has already been confirmed. That's Hill Elementary School. East Aurora's 131 site also is confirmed. That's going to be at O'Donnell Elementary School this year. Last year, as you remember, it was at Johnson. The Oswego School District 308 Aurora-based school is going to be at the Wheatlands, also confirmed. And then for our Indian Prairie District 204, we're still waiting to hear back. They're just waiting a little bit on their construction schedule. It'll be either at Georgetown Elementary, which is typically at every year, or if not, McCarty Elementary. These two schools fall under Title I. We ensure, we're intentional so that we can ensure the free lunch program and breakfast program for our students. We've also, since 2019, had our citywide drama camp available for all youth in Aurora, grades 3 through 8th. And that site's also been confirmed to be this year at Bardwell Elementary. So we're really excited to be there this year. Just to highlight, all our camps, depending on the last day of school, which seems to be far apart sometimes with some of our school districts. So some will begin on June 3rd, which is the District 129, Oswego, and the drama camp, and then followed by the District 131 and 204 camp starting on the 5th, again, because the latter school districts, their last day is a few days after the others. These are Monday through Thursday camps, 8:30 to 2. Again, except for the drama camp, which is 9 to 1 p.m. And again, the drama camp is for 3rd through 8th graders, whereas in the other traditional camps are for 1st through 5th graders. Just quick highlights. We always like to share this. Again, in your packet, you have the 2023 summer report. We always just like to show a little snippet of what we did last summer. And obviously, the trips, the experiences, but more importantly, the smiling faces, right? Which is really why we do what we do. And we're hoping to continue that this year. Last year, as you can see here are the breakdown as far as the enrollment numbers. And demographically speaking as well, boys and girls were equally represented with about 149 females to 136 males. We'd also like to ensure that we have direct representation, which we obviously do, of our students, with the Latino Hispanic community being the largest demographic, obviously, that we serve, that also makes up our city. And just, we always like to share, how does this process work as far as selecting sites? We work directly with our school district partners. Some of the things we have to look at, or they have to look at as well, is where are we housing our summer school programs? Where are we housing our district summer and sports camps? And then construction. Sometimes it's great news, but sometimes limited space on our end means that the schools are fixing a lot of, major and minor upkeep, right? ARPA and other funds have allowed our school districts to really significantly update their schools, which is great. So that's why sometimes we do have to bounce around between buildings. And that's why I put the little asterisk there. The construction one is typically the one that we have to wait for to see which buildings that we can house our programs. And the other thing that we look at, just as, again, is we work with our school districts. Most of the schools already have this, but obviously we wanted to make sure that it is a safe environment for all that are a part of it. So, adequate air conditioning, classroom space, gymnasium, cafeteria for said activities. Playgrounds are preferred and not necessary, but we just want to make sure kids also get out of the building, right? It's the summertime. We want them to be outside. We want them to get some sunlight, some activity. And then obviously all the safety features that we work with our school districts or the buildings in which we house these camps. And just to give you an idea, why do we come before you now when the summer is still a few months away? Well, there's a lot to get done before then. So we want to ensure that once this agreement is approved by City Council, we move forward with all of the breakfast and lunch programs. We have to ensure that we get that done in a timely manner with the Northern Illinois Food Bank and other partners. We want to get applications to our families as soon as possible, so once they know where our sites are going to be held at, they can begin to apply. We want to begin the hiring and background checks process now, as you can understand that can take a while as well. And so we want to reach out to schools. A lot of times what works best for us, if we know we're in a specific building, we reach out to the administration of that building and say, do we have any staff that want to work it? It's a great benefit because they're already trained professionals, background checked, and they understand the needs of the building. We like to get this done as well so that we can have registration begin at our Youth and Family Resource Fair, which please mark your calendars. It's going to be on April 10th this year. I'll send a formal invitation to all of you to join us. And then all the certificates of insurance and documentation needed. Our drama camp, we have to pay for the rights to shows and get all that stuff mailed to us. And then just any other programs and collaborations. This is a big collaborative effort. We want to make sure all our partners, all our agencies are aware of the dates, times, locations. And these are some of our partners. As we say, we're very proud that we work with many of our food program partners in the community, such as the Northern Illinois Food Bank and Marie Wilkinson, Organic Life. Also, with some of our program providers, we bring in the Park District. Last year, we brought in Chasewood Learning for some STEM education. So we want to keep our youth as engaged as possible. So we like to bring in some of our partner agencies as well. And lastly, I'd just like to show this last slide. This is why we do what we do. We want to keep our young people engaged and active in this free program available to all families in those districts in which they reside in. So that's why we have our 4 sites and our drama camp. We have with us also Karen Harkness with Cities and Schools Aurora. She's also available for any questions that you might have for myself or for her. So thank you.
Mike, I have a question.
Alderwoman Garza.
Simon, how much they cost us last summer,
How much does,
the program?
so last year's,
Now it's 183, so last summer,
it was 184 around there. So we just had to
It's
adjust a
almost
little bit, but it was
similar, right?
relatively the same, yes.
yes, so the families, they don't have to pay nothing.
Correct. There's no charge to the
nothing.
families. This covers all costs, including staff and salaries, field trips, transportation, which is very costly.
Yes.
Some of the partner
That's what I
programs that
wanna
you
know,
see.
because
Yeah.
sometimes field trips, families, they don't have money to pay for the field trips.
Yep. So any
that's
cost of
included.
admissions is also included.
Great,
So there's no cost to our families.
great.
And is there a limit of how many children can attend?
So our goal is around 75 students per site. That keeps our staff at 1 to 15 ratio, which is for elementary students a good ratio to have.
And then what happens to the people that apply that are above the 75?
So we do have a waiting list because what happens every year is, of course, we get them out early. Parents are like, oh, let's sign them up. So we make sure that we have something for the kids, and then other opportunities come along. So then when we find, the first week, oh, we only have 72 kids or 72 or 50 families, then we'll contact those.
But it's a pretty
On a
hard
waiting list.
cutoff at 75. You never go over.
Oh, we do. I mean, even because the camp, like the 4th week, sometimes our numbers are way down just because of families decide to take a trip the last week of June. So we're not really like it has to be 75, but our goal is at least 75 to try to keep that number in there.
Okay.
Good question. Thank you.
And also, Alderman, we also make sure that if our camp is full, for example, and we like to give the information of the other, we're not the only camps, obviously. All the school districts we just named also have their own district-funded camps, and we'll also recommend those. But so that way, our goal is to make sure that our young kids don't have, there's opportunities for them, right? So that there's space available for them, other options that they have as well.
And doesn't the Park District do camps too?
I'm sorry?
The Park District does camps as well.
They do, yes. And we provide all the information. Park District, the Aurora Township has camps. A lot of our nonprofits have various camps. So we're part of why we have our youth resource fair, as I mentioned earlier, is that's where we want the community to show up to see here's what we have available for our young people this summer. And families like to start early because, as you mentioned, they start to plan also their summers and their vacations and all that. So we want to make sure that they have not just our information, but all our partners' information.
And either Simon or Karen, would you know how many students are actually participating in this with all the summer camps, with all the agencies and the school districts and the not-for-profits are doing?
That's a fantastic question. I don't have a number. I know in Aurora we serve 50 to I believe like 60,000 now young people. So I don't believe in repeating services. I'll argue that we need more of these because as great a job as we do, as our partners do, there's always going to be a need. So I think that's something definitely to think about. I would love to do a study with our partners to get that number for you. Because I think that'd be great to look at how many are we actually serving and how many kids are not being served is
Yeah, it would be
probably
great
better.
to know, really, if you can compile that. I think that'd be very worthwhile.
Absolutely.
Sure, and I can kind of add to that because we also provide the 21st century after school programs. So in the summer, like West Aurora, we had 2 additional sites and they served over 100 or 200 students. East Aurora had 21st century sites, but they only served 2 grades last year, so their numbers were lower. because they were really targeting specific schools. And I know when we were at the Wheatlands, there was also another program run by the Boys and Girls, or not Boys and Girls, but the Y program, which is a charging program, but it was also in the facility. So we are out there in other, capacities trying to serve the students in Aurora.
Okay. Alderman Lesh.
Thanks for the excellent presentation. Just a quick question about hiring of staff. I know that we try and get teachers who are already background checked and qualified educators, but do we give preference to bilingual, or is it more of choosing based on seniority and availability?
I'll let Karen answer. They do the hiring first.
Sure. So to be honest, it is a challenge to find staff in the summer, especially certified teachers, because by the time school year has come, they are like looking forward to their summer break, or they're also doing their own summer schools, which pay a little bit more than what we can afford to pay. But I mean, we really do try to get representation, both bilingual, to serve our students, definitely. And also seniority. I mean, it's nice to have the same students or staff coming back each year. Principals also have an input on who we hire, because really we're the only people in some of those buildings in the summer, and we want the principals and school district to feel very comfortable and confident of who their staff is in those buildings when there's no one else around for emergencies and safety.
I do know, to further clarify that, Alderman, for our East Aurora site last year, I believe, if I'm not mistaken, close to, if not 100% of the staff we had there were bilingual, just because I think the overall majority of the students were. So we try to be very reflective of the students that we're serving as well and their needs.
Thank you, Chairman.
So moved.
Second.
Been moved by Alderwoman Garza, second by Alderman Lash. Any further discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, motion carried 5-0.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Any other business to come before the PHS&T Committee? Motion for adjournment is in order.
So move.
Second.
Moved by Alderman Lash, second by Alderman Donnell. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed, we adjourn 5-0 at 4:27 PM. Thank you, one and all.